On today's project, we'll be making a slimline card. So if you're interested in this, stick around. Welcome guys to my creative corner. This is Claudette, where I create projects using paper, ink, stamps, mixed media, and a whole lot of embellishment. If this is your first time tuning into my channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button down below as well as the bell icon. If you're returning, welcome back. So let's get into today's project. So today's project, I'll be creating a slimline card featuring the stamp set Christmas Gleaming, as well as the coordinating punches. So these come together as a bundle, and if you get them as a bundle, you save 10%. All right, so I'll go ahead and bring my cardstock in. So we're going to be using some white cardstock. And so this cardstock is measuring 8.5 by 11. So this is 8.5 by 11. So we want to cut this down. So we're going to turn it on the 11-inch side, and we're going to cut that down to 7 inches. So we're going to take this over to 7 inches, and we're going to go ahead and trim that down. All right, so we have 8.5 by 7 inches. So we're going to keep it there on that 7-inch side, and we're going to bring it over to 3.5. So we're going to score that down the middle at 3.5. Go ahead and put my trimmer out of the way. Then we're going to go ahead and fold this down. I'm going to go ahead and get my bone folder. So we want 2 layering pieces. So I have a gold foil, and this gold foil is measuring 8.25 by 3.25. And then I have another piece of white cardstock, and this is measuring 8 by 3 inches. And then I'm going to have a scrap piece of white cardstock, and this is measuring 3 by 3 inches. And I am going to go ahead and do some heat embossing. So I'm going to bring in my embossing buddy. We just have like talcum powder in it, and we're just going to dust this off lightly. And that's just to prevent any of the embossing powder from going outside of the image. Then we're going to get our Versamark ink and just put this on the side. And we'll be using these 2 ornaments here from this stamp set. So we're going to go ahead and ink this up. Okay, we'll go ahead and ink up the other one, the smaller one. And just put this on the side, and then I'm going to go ahead and get some, I'm going to be using gold embossing powder. So I'm going to bring in my coffee filter. And these are nice. You could get several of these from the dollar store, and you could reuse them over and over. So I'm going to get my gold embossing powder. And in the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead and put on my heat tool so that I could warm up. Sorry about the noise. Just making sure I have good coverage there. We're just going to flick any excess off, and I'm just going to take this and just put it back into my container. All right, then we're going to get our heat tool, and we're going to just go ahead and hold that over our powdered image, and then you'll see the magic. Let's see if you could see it turning. It start to give a little shine to it, and then this gets pretty hot. A lot of times I use my tweezers to hold the end of it. Okay, so what we're gonna do next is we're gonna take our layer, and this is an 8x3 cardstock. I should have done this all at once, but hey, so we're gonna do a lot of embossing here for this project. And let me just get my embossing powder, and I'm just gonna, or embossing buddy I should say, and I am gonna stamp this image right here to the corners. So I'm using this image right here. And then I want to also emboss the Merry Christmas. And just put it right up in the corner here. So we'll bring in our powder once again. When I first started doing paper crafting and I was introduced to this technique with heat embossing, I thought that it was so magical. I still do think it is. Put this over on the side. Another thing I like to have on hand is just a little paintbrush, so I could get little areas that got the powder on and just flick it off. And this is one of the reasons why we use the embossing buddy. Sometimes you get a lot more than what's here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our heater back on. All right, so what we're gonna go ahead and do is that we're gonna go ahead and punch and cut these images out. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut out the Merry Christmas. Okay, next we're gonna take our punch and punch these ornaments out. Okay, so next for the smaller one. So we have our two ornaments. Okay, so with this gold piece, I'm going to go ahead and cut the inner piece out so we could save that portion to use in another project. So I'm going to go ahead and take our stitch rectangle dies. So I'm going to use this one. All right, so I am going to go to my die cutting machine and I shall be back. Okay, so I am back. So we would have two pieces that we could use at a later date. So this is going to be over just like that, and look, no one would know the difference. So we're going to go ahead and put some glue around the edges and glue those two pieces together. So we just want to make sure it's nice and even amount on either sides. And the nice thing about working with liquid glue, it's very forgiving. So you have enough time to move your work around. It doesn't stick right away. All right. Next, what we're going to do is bring in a base of our card. And then what we're going to do is add glue to the back of this and add this to the base of our card. Before we do that, okay, I'm going to bring in my silicone mat and just add it here. I wanted to add my ornaments first before I glue this down to the base of our card. So I am going to bring in a piercing foam, some piercing foam, a piercing tool. This is the take your pick tool. And I am going to take the ornaments, and they have a little loop right there that you usually put your twine through to hang it on the tree. So I'm going to go ahead, let me just get a little closer so you could see. And I'm going to go ahead and take the piercing tool part and just bore a hole in that section. And if you have a hole punch, a small little hole punch, you could use that too as well. So I'm going to do that on both of these. So you just want to be careful that you don't rip the top. So what I'm going to do next is get some metallic trimming. And with this metallic trim, it comes in a combo pack. It comes with this open weave ribbon. And so that's nice that you get two in a pack. And this is really some nice metallic trimming. It's just beautiful. It just matches this perfectly. So I'm just going to go ahead. I cut off a couple pieces here, and this kind of frays to the end. So what you want to do is take some of your glue, just a tip of your glue, if you don't want it to fray, and you just want to rub some there to the tips of it. And I'm going to go ahead and send this through here and just tie a knot on the ornaments. And I'm going to do it for both ornaments. All right, so if you want, you could just take your trim and just glue it down. You don't have to go through all that to loop it through. So what we're gonna do, what I wanted to do is just have this and just have it glued to the back here before I glued it down to the base of my card. So what I'm going to do is take some Scotch tape and just glue that there to the back. I should have made this just a tad longer. So I'm going to get some Scotch tape and just glue this to, and just tape that down to the back here. Then what I'm going to do is pop this up on some dimensionals. Just make sure that I got that little end where I put the tie the knot. I got that stuck onto the dimensional. I'm just going to take the back end off of that, and I'm going to just pull that a little tight, and then we'll just go stick that down. Next, I am going to take my smaller one, and I think I'm just going to place that just about here. So I'm going to go ahead and put dimensionals, and I'm just going to add dimensionals to the right side of it and not on this left side. I'm just going to add a dot of glue right there so that end could be hidden out of the way. And then I think, let's see how I'm going to put this, because then I want my wording. I think this looks good right about here. And then if you want, you could add a little bit of glue on to the back on that left side, which I didn't, but I think that should be fine. Now I'm going to go ahead and just stick this one down here with the Scotch tape. And then I am going to put this about here. All right, I'm going to get some mini dimensionals, I think, to pop this one up here. Again, I'm just pressing my nails in those back ends so they could come off a little easier. And I think I'm gonna add this to about right there. And I am gonna get a little bit of gems to add to that. And on the Take Your Pick tool, we have putty on one end. It helps you to pick up smaller objects. In this case, it'll be these gems, and these are champagne rhinestones. Let's see, I think I'll put one here. All right, next what we're going to do is bring in the base of our card, and we're going to glue that onto the base of our card. All right, so next what we're going to do is the inside. We're going to make some pockets for the inside because we're going to make some little gift tags. Being that this is a slimline card, I think you should make the best of it, get the best use out of this. And we're going to go ahead and stamp a sentiment. And with that sentiment, I'm going to go ahead and still use the gold embossing powder for that. So we're going to be making 2 pockets, and those pockets are 3.5 by 2 inches, and this is in your white cardstock. And also for our tags, we're going to be having some cardstock, and these are measuring 1/4 by 3.25. And I am going to be using the greeting from another stamp set, and it says Season Greetings. So that greeting is from the Still Scenes stamp set. So we're going to go ahead and heat emboss again. So we're just doing the inside of our card. We come in with our embossing buddy here, and we're going to get our Versamark ink. So on the sentiment in the inside, we're going to say, and be jolly this season. So Merry Christmas is on the front, and then in the inside, we're going to have, and be jolly. So we're going to go ahead and ink that up. And I am just going to put the design on these pockets. I'm going to put this design right here outside of those pockets. And those pockets I'm going to show you, we're going to be using it to hold some gift tags that we're going to put on that left side. And I'm just going to make 1 tag. I'm going to show you with that 1 tag, and we're going to stamp up that greeting, Season Greetings. As I went ahead and made some ahead of time, but I just want to show you here. Let me just stamp another one because I probably put it too close to the edge. So we're going to get our embossing powder and do all of these one time. All right, then we're going to bring in our heat tool. So next we're going to be using a 3/4 of an inch circle punch. So we're going to put a little slit in this. You could put gift cards in here, but we're going to use tags. And it's good to just line them up together and punch it one time. And you just want to put half. When you're going down, just put it halfway. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is kind of glue these down here on the sides. So we're just gonna glue there to the sides and the edges and then to the bottom and not on the top. So let me just glue this down here first. And then we'll glue the second piece. And I just want to make sure my tag would fit and it's not too high up. That looks pretty good. So then for our tag, we're going to take our scallop tag tapper punch and we're going to punch it there to the top. And we're just going to put it in, look and see how it is. Make sure it's lined up evenly. Just punch, and there we have our tags. And then you're going to go and take that same metallic trim that we used earlier for the ornaments. We're going to cut a piece off and make. And again, if you want your ends to be frayed, you could leave that, but I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the end here and have some control. And I'm going to go ahead and send that loop through there. Open that up, grab those two pieces and loop that through. And you want it snug, not too tight. You don't want to cut through your paper. All right, and then this goes in here, and then in the front, and then in the front, I forgot to add my bows to the front, so you could add some tags here, so it'll be a gift in a gift. And then when you're cutting your inside pieces, you want them just a little shy of 3.5 inches, so it won't be too close to the inside when you're closing that down. All right, so I'm gonna add a bow to my ornament. I was gonna add 2, but I think that's a bit much, so I'm gonna take a glue dot, get that and add it. Just gonna roll that glue dot up. And then we'll add it here. So the only thing I think with my ornaments, I should have hanged them down a little lower. All right, to the front of this, I'm just gonna go ahead and pick this gem up. I'm just gonna add another ornament down here because I think it just looks there's too much white space. So I'm just going to take another one of the smaller ornaments, and I'm not going to add any dimensionals. I'm just going to glue that down right underneath that one there, just to take away some of that white space. And that's when you're doing your that's when you're creating your slimline card. Is so much space to fill, and I think that looks so much better. So these would fit within your legal envelopes, or you could create your own envelope, but they fit right in these legal envelopes nicely. So I hope you guys got creative value from this video. Please hit the like button down below. You guys continue to be creative. This is Claudette, and I'll catch you on the next video.